And, of course, the other thing they're replacing as well, I mean, you know, they have people pulling beers and all sorts of stuff. I'd like to see a robot pull a good Guinness, see how the head on that goes. But the other thing they're replacing is people in all other manners of jobs, including models now, it turns out, apparently, in Vogue, which I suppose is the one place you would expect to see pictures of real women. Guess has run an advertisement with an AI model in it, wearing one of their dresses. I mean, I know this has always been an argument that, oh, well, you know, there's going to be mechanisation of everything to some degree, and that necessarily requires people to be put out of work. But it does
Not
make...
the models.
But
Please, can the models still keep working?
It makes products cheaper, and so we say, OK, it's good. You know, you used to have to make washing machines by hand, and now we have machines. You can do all this stuff. I understand all of that. But we're getting to a point now where AI and robotics will pretty much be able to do every job on the face of the planet. And once we get to that point, and the robots are doing all the work, including the modelling and driving the trucks and pulling the beers and whatever else, who's actually going to be in a job except for the people servicing these robots, which isn't going to be the billions of people walking around the face of the planet? So who then is going to be able to afford the products that the robots are going to try and flog to us? Like, I think we're heading towards a really serious economic crisis here, because there will come a point where AI will tip over this way and it will have taken all the jobs and then we're stuffed.
And they seem to do the jobs better than humans. I mean, this AI model is more stunning and more attractive than any human model on the face of the earth. No, that is the reason these things have developed.
A lot lower.
They can track the analytics on social media, and they have figured out the optimal form of female that can be created using AI. I mean, what does that do to beauty standards and unrealistic body image that women already struggle with in the age of social media? It's just going to get even worse, because now it is so unrealistic, it's actually fake. But another area where women are being absolutely screwed is the participation of males in women's sports. This time, a group of women's rights protesters who were protesting the participation of a transgender person in the female category, Noah Lynn van Leuven, at a dart competition were forcibly removed from the event for holding up a sign that said he is a man and wearing a Sex Matters t-shirt. When you look at the force with which they were removed, they're now complaining that they had bruises and scratches and all sorts of things. I mean, seriously, they're removing the real women who are standing up for women's rights while a man is dominating the competition. What kind of upside down world are we now living in?
I am going to blindside everyone. I'm going on the side of, what's her name? Noah Lynn van Leuven. Because I reckon the other woman was just making an absolute dick of herself. Pun intended. She was rocking up, disrupting an event, you know, being rude. If you want to write a letter about it, if you want to say that you don't like that sort of thing, OK, fair enough. But you don't go and ruin someone else's event and ruin the whole thing for all the competitors.
I don't necessarily disagree with the point that, you know, if you're going to turn up and protest at a sporting event, you're going to be removed.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
So stop speaking about it.
But is there not some irony in the juxtaposition of a biological male competing in a woman's competition and an actual woman who says, I'm not sure about that, gets chucked out of the women's event?
To be honest, I didn't even know there was such a thing as women's darts.
Well, and this was my immediate reaction was, surely of all the sports that exist, this is one where the gender of the participant probably doesn't affect the ability to do the sport. But the reason there is women's darts is because darts is sort of generally a man's endeavour, that they have a women's category specifically for women in order to encourage women to go and compete. Because, you know, they go, well, I don't really want to go compete with the blokes because it's too much of a blokey sort of competition and that's not what I'm into.
Some old lecherous guy with a pike.
So they've created women's competitions to encourage women to take up darts so they can play with other women so they don't have to feel like they're in a blokey environment. Fair enough. But then you start saying, well, the blokes can come and play in it anyway. Exactly. What's the point of the women's competition?
No, and there is still some... Well, firstly, I would say it doesn't matter if there's no biological advantage. It's the principle of the matter. And the principle is that women's sporting categories should be reserved for biological women. And the second point is that there actually is still a biological advantage because men have more muscle mass on average, which is better for stabilization. And in darts, you need stable hand to get the target, I guess.
But isn't that what the pints are for?
That's what the beers are for, I guess. But no, so there is still a biological advantage. And here, I mean, the World Darts Association has been completely left behind. You already had 2 members of the Dutch national team that resigned over Noah Lynn van Leuven's participation. They said, we will not be on a team with a transgender player. Other players in the darts world have spoken out against this. No, you will struggle to find a single woman who is supportive of men playing in female categories. And that is what is so frustrating. And at a time when the rest of the world is coming to their senses, is realizing we've gone way too far on this whole inclusivity thing, the darts world is saying, no, let's let it continue, flying in the face of what the vast majority of its members, of its players want.
Well, apparently there were women competing in the men's comp last year as well. So they got a few things to sort out.
I think it's fun. But this is the thing, though. Like, I mean, if players think it's unfair and they want to resign, they have that right, and that's a perfectly legitimate and worthy way of making a statement. But it wasn't the players that were getting all up and at him about her competing in this thing. It was a bunch of protesters who were crashing the event. So
because they've already quit or refused to play against her.
But they're obviously enough to still take part in the competition. There were obviously everyone who was there.
Well, I mean, if your choice is to
not
compete and then you've got no chance at winning, I suppose at some point you've got to compromise on those issues.